starts with foundation. So helps you understand how ITIL relates to you and your role in IT and where knowledge can be applied. It covers, as you would expect, the sort of broad core concepts of ITIL 4. It covers, aspects of, the practices and which practices, are perhaps the most common in organisations to understand those. Starts you to understand how ITIL would, for example, apply things like the guiding principles, how it brings out this understanding of an IT service. Now, it's more than just allows the business to do what they do. It's also about helping them create value. Yeah, IT services enabling them to do things which without IT they couldn't do or couldn't do as well. So it's a real good grounding, that real broad brush understanding of ITIL, which you achieve in foundation. There's an exam that goes with that. So it's a 1 hour, typically an online proctored exam you can take in your own time. Yeah. And a date and time that works for you, with a sort of pass mark of 65% or 26 correct answers. Multiple choice. So the answer's on the page. Yeah, you've still got to get 26 though. But an examination that if you're successful, you've now got your first certificate in ITIL 4. Okay, so need to do this, yeah, as a prerequisite to any other courses. So important to get this to start the journey. And I say it starts to create that understanding of that universal language of ITIL, the acronyms, the terms and tags, helps you relate to it based on where you work currently in the IT organization, and gives you some of that sort of, understanding of ITIL approaches, some of the practical knowledge that you can take back and consider how best to apply this, maybe the way you work or your team works. Okay, so really good start to understand the ITIL world, but of course as a means to an end, because then it does open up the wider certification scheme. So doing horizontals and verticals, there are sort of 4 main, what we might call levels of designation. Top is ITIL 4 Master, yeah, but within that, 3 specific, if you like, streams to achieve the designation of practice manager or managing professional or strategic leader. Okay, and we'll talk about extension modules at the end. So if we look at, the designation level of practice manager. So ITIL recognizes that for some people, yeah, where they work closely in a particular ITIL sort of practice, things like incident management or knowledge management, monitoring and event management, change management, etc., then ITIL guidance over and above foundation helps them best understand how those key practices should be established. What is a good way of working within those practices? How can things like automation and tools be applied to make those practices more efficient? How can we apply continual improvement? And so there are 15 practices where there are either a combination of three-day courses: monitor, support and fulfill, plan, implement and control, collaborate and assure, and improve, where you can cover 5 practices as part of a 3-day course, or alternatively, these practices can be taken individually as 1-day courses. So whatever is most appropriate for you. Say a lot of these practices have been logically grouped together, so they sort of make sense that if you're doing incident management, it's probably worth understanding problem management and the service desk and the interfaces. It's worth understanding things like service request and monitoring and event management as a sort of logical grouping. Yeah, plan, implement and control. If you're interested in sort of change management or change enablement, to give it its proper name in ITIL, you probably need to understand a bit about release management, things around deployment management, and things around configuration and IT asset management. Yeah, things that often change when we're implementing, new or enhancements to our products and services. So again, a logical grouping. And collaborate, assure and improve. If you're interested in continual improvement, well, areas that most benefit from that might be things like service level management, so applying it to your IT services, looking at the importance of suppliers and supplier management and continual improvement through our suppliers, looking at the importance of good relationships between ourselves, our teams, and other stakeholders, either in or outside of the IT organization, and also, assure very much around information security and, reassurance that our data, our services are, secure, safe, and we're doing the right things to protect ourselves from things like data breaches and, ransomware attacks, etc. So there's an exam for each of those, either 1 day, 1 practice courses, or for the 3-day 5 practices. To get to the designation level of practice manager, you need to have completed at least 5 practices, whichever way you want to sort of slice and dice that, as a 3-day course or individually 5 1-day courses, and also what they call create, deliver and support. Okay, so some of the advanced courses also span some of these different designation levels. Create, deliver and support, how we create, deliver and support services, new services, enhancements to services, and of course has a close relationship with the practices that we draw upon with the people, the skills, the knowledge, the processes, ways of working that they follow, the tools that they use. Okay, so as I say, you need to have covered the CDS course and passed successfully, and completed 5 of those practitioner 1-day courses, or that logical grouping of 5 practices in a 3-day course. Get all of those, get through all the exams, and you achieve practice manager. Okay, so again, benefits of practice manager: understanding the more detailed ways of working, close to maybe the day job, understanding how your practice relates to other areas, so how can those interfaces be best worked, etc. Okay, and again, understands things from that sort of ITIL strategic perspective. And a good, even if you think you're doing it and you're doing it well, it gives you a structured approach in terms of how to ensure things have been established and set up the best way, and on a more continued basis we can improve those. Managing professional, so that's that leg here. So more traditional sort of courses that we need to do, aimed at people who may be in roles where they work in a team, they work in project teams, they support technology, maybe have some responsibility for managing people as well. So, the importance of good people skills, getting the best sort of team cultures, again, all part of that focus. So those that have got maybe a supervisory team leader sort of manager sort of responsibility, not only how to do things well, but also how to manage those teams, those people, establish the culture to ensure that the team works in a good, consistent, positive way, is how we look at the managing professional stream. So create, deliver and support, I think we cover those on the next